What's going on, family? It's your man Aaron Ferris with BlackmenTravels.com, and today we are discussing why are Black men saying no to marriage. But first, let me preface: it's really why are all American men saying no to marriage. Now, this is coming from an article that was posted on BlackmenTravels.com. The title of the article is U.S. Marriage Rate Plunges to Lowest Level on Record. Let me just post this article. There we go, right there. And in the article, it's saying that right now, only 6% of Americans are getting married. Now, when I was doing some research for this article, I started seeing all these really negative coming from, pretty much female-leaning blogs like Atlanta Black Star, Madame Lamar, and they were saying all these little fake reasons or just untrue reasons why Black men or men in general aren't getting married. Some of the reasons were that men don't want to be responsible. You had one article saying that men just have access to cheap sex and they just want their thrills and frills and to keep it moving. And yeah, I mean, some of that's true to a certain extent. But for the most part, the articles were full of lies. It's a few reasons, really main reasons why men are opting out of marriage. One of the main reasons is that a lot of men don't want to marry their legacy into the state when it all boils down to it. She belongs to the state. And marriage, 9 times out of 10, is a one-sided contract. Let's see what we got in the room real quick. Truth Teller. That was a great post in the Facebook group. Thank you, brother. He's talking about the Facebook group Black Men Travels. MJ Hines says marriage rates are going to keep dropping. That's true. You're right, Truth Teller. Marriage does not benefit men in the matrix. For the most part, man, it's a one-sided contract. Let's just be honest. And 9 times out of 10, you're not getting the woman at her peak. Some might, but for the most part, you're crossing over into those late 20s, early 30s, you're going to be dealing with a woman with some type of baggage. And when you're dealing with a woman with baggage and you're investing with a woman with baggage, because marriage is about an investment, it's business at the end of the day. The romance of all of it wears out and wears thin for them. It's like a drug. Love is a drug, and it fades out as time goes by. And at that point, what marriage is really supposed to be is yourself and her really pulling in the same direction from the American government to build your legacy, right? It's supposed to be you and her building as a team to help the next generation, your kids, be able to deal with, America's tyrannical government, basically capitalism. You're putting your children in a better position that you were. But marriage lately, for the last 40, 50 years, because you got to keep in mind, fellas, that when people say they were married for 50, 60 years, like my grandparents, they were getting married at 18, 19, 21, 25 max. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they got the woman in her prime before she got damaged by society. That's one of the main reasons. And we all know these young girls nowadays are nowhere near mature enough or self-sacrificing enough to be in a fruitful marriage or relationship. And they're not going to listen to you 9 times out of 10. You can't even be the lead in your relationship. These are the reasons why men are just opting out. It has nothing really to do with, men just not being mature enough to be married, or men. I saw one article that said, I read one article that said that millennial men are just broke and they can't afford it. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Marriage is supposed to be about you and her building something together. She's supposed to be assisting you in building your life legacy. But now this whole independent feminist movement, men, we already see the writings on the wall. Now for years, for about maybe 20, 30 years, a lot of us came from broken homes. A lot of young men come from broken homes right now at this very moment. And you saw what your father went through. You saw your father paying child support, maybe. You saw your father struggling. You might have saw your father, you know, going back and forth with your moms, maybe not really running the household like he was supposed to. And as you get older, you start seeing yourself like, wait a minute, hold on. Before I get trapped within the state, because that's what you're doing when you have a child in America or you marry a woman in America, you start to realize that you have better options. Like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Do I have to get married? I'm doing well. I got a good career. Why would I risk all that? You buying properties, you got portfolios, all that can be lost if you marry to the state, because that's what you're doing when you're marrying a woman. You marry to the state. And black men, I'm just talking about focus on black men here for a second, because marriage is down all over America, white, black, blue, blue, blue. But we already go through enough as it is out in the world trying to retrieve our resources from men that's not from our culture. So to come home and to have to do a civil war battle in your own home, and you've seen this growing up, you're going to put two and two together and say, well, wait a minute. If I'm already achieving my goals as it is, then I'm going to apply what my brother Ramil says, the dumping pump strategy. Let's read these comments. MJ Hines, S3, says, American women have been exposed and they are trying to damage control. I definitely agree. Larry 45 ACP says, seen it with my grandfather. They've been married for over 50 years, and my grandmother, God rest her soul, beating that man down. Okay. My brother says, priest. MJ Hines, millennial men are supposedly broke, but steady catching flights overseas. Exactly. Exactly. My brother O'Shea Duke Jackson did a show about my brother Steven Jackson leaving a woman at the altar. Now, Steven Jackson is a basketball player, pretty good ball player. I was always a fan of him. I like his style of play. He kind of reminded me of, that New York Knicks, ball of play, kind of roughhouse, hooping. And the video that he posted was very revealing. Well, first of all, he still took an L. I'm just going to say that right quick, because you paid for a wedding. You paid $400,000 for a wedding, $400,000, and you left her at the altar because she wouldn't sign a prenup. And my thing is, why do you let it even go that far? Because in order to do a prenup, you have to sit down with a lawyer. Both of you should be able to sit down with a lawyer, and you drop the prenup right in front. And it takes some time, to drop the contract, but you put everything in it. And she was waiting to the last day to sign that, and you went ahead and went through with all that. On the flip side, this woman was so conniving that she wanted to use a certain preacher, pastor, to marry him, not the one that Steven Jackson grew up with. She wanted to use another one. And this pastor was on her side, basically saying that, hey, man, we don't believe in prenups. Christians don't believe in prenups. Are you serious? Let's see here. Mr. Gadget ATL, married for 13 years, and one day the ex decided he didn't want to be married. It's a contract out of convenience, and once she decides she's ready to move on, you get the short end of the stick. Very correct, Mr. Gadget ATL. Marriage, divorce, is the biggest reason why a lot of men lose their wealth. Most men that lose 50 to 60 to 70% of their resources, usually is coming from divorce. You're right. Best decision Steven Jackson ever did was to not get married. Bati Thug says another thing is many women don't want to be married and don't know how to be a wife. Oh, good point. It's not on us men. Absolutely right. Right now, you have a big single parent household rate, maybe 75 to 80%. It's getting larger by the day. And we all know that the women that come up in these single parent households that don't see a man in the household, giving their mother direction and see her working as a team to improve the status of the family. When they get older, just seeing their mama run the show basically, and seeing their mama, pretty much with different dudes in and out their lives, they're going to have a skewed view of what a relationship really is. And this is not an absolute, because you do have some women that can pull it off, that really want to make it work. You got women out here that don't want to go through what their mothers go through, but that's very far and in between, in all honesty. For the most part, single mothers breed single mothers, unfortunately. Let's see here. Take my advice and never get married. At least none, not too mean, hateful black women, American women get one from the continent. Okay. Truth teller. Even Chad and Brad are getting tired of these entitled females. They are not committed either because it's easy to pump and dump. That's very true. Very true. Truth teller. Even police officers' own wives are divorcing them and taking the kids would have his fortune. Very true. Very true. You know, it's funny because right now you have whole uh, business economies tanking because of marriage. You got the wedding industry who's losing money by the day. You got the stores that sell the wedding dresses, they're closing up. Right now, men are doing the math. They're just being logical, right? And you're saying like, okay, 30, 40 grand on a wedding, or should I put 30 and $40,000 in an investment property? 30, 40 grand on a wedding, or should I just continue to build up my stock portfolio so I can get dividends and live off the fruits of my labor, or the stock market basically. 30, 40 grand to a marriage, to a wedding, or I can buy a property overseas, cash money, and not have to pay mortgage rent another day of my life. No property taxes. You can go to Brazil and Rio and have an apartment, especially now, right on the beach, for probably about 40 grand. I believe the exchange rate is like 1 to 5 right now. So 10,000 is like 50,000 reals right now. These are some of the options that men, not just black men, are thinking about and exploring. The days of, you go to college, you get a job at AT&T. She has a job at the hospital. She's a nurse. You have your career. She has your career. You guys come home and make something happen for the betterment of your children. If that's what marriage is really supposed to be about, it's pretty much over and done with if you think about it. That's not to say that people aren't, getting married any longer. People still getting married, here and there, but it's almost like, do you really want to do that, bro? Right now, do you really want to do that? Because the brothers that got married young, 20, 25, 30, all my friends that got married young are all divorced. I'm talking about like 20 of them, all divorced. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, he was actually my ex-girlfriend's best friend's fiance. And we were in Jamaica in Montego Bay. And I really didn't know the guy, but we had got cool. You know how, you doing a couple dates and everything. You just kind of chop it up with the guy. And I remember we were sitting outside. We was at the couples resort. And he was like, hey man, hey Aaron, man, think I should go through with this? And in my head, I'm like, man, it's a little too late to be thinking about that now. We in Jamaica, bro. We got, you got 30, 40 people out here. You got your family out here. It's like, yeah, I know, man, but I just been thinking. I remember when my dad first told me when I started dating her that, you gotta be careful with women that didn't grow up in two-parent households. And I'm like, damn, your pop said that? He's like, yeah, man, because his parents were still married. And that's the first time I really heard it. I mean, I heard it when I was younger. Um, but I was like, yeah, that I would think that would have somewhat of an effect. And lo and behold, um, I believe the marriage lasted about 8 years, and she is the biggest stock. They went divorced, 2 kids, all that good stuff. He lost the house and all that stuff. But she's like the biggest stock on Facebook now. I mean, she's just wilding out because she got married young, and now she wants to do the whole wilding out thing. Now that she has alimony, child support at home, she wants to wild out. And this was what you would deem as a good girl back in the day. College degree, pretty chick, man, fine as hell actually. And boy, I tell you, like she's on Facebook in the club every night, pretty much balling off his money. Let's read these comments real quick. These women, truth teller, these women are in constant competition with their young daughters. That's very true. Larry 45 ACP says men are more likely to get incarcerated from single parent homes as our women are more likely to become pregnant. That is extremely true. Herbert Walker, I'm 57 years old with no kids. Life is great, happily retired and single. I feel you, Herbert. I feel you, man. MJ3 says, stocks over thoughts. 100. Mike Cheap says, Brad and Chip have all I'm sorry, hold on. Brad and Chip can have all those mean wig, where-headed hooligans. I'm not even going to read the last part, but I feel you, Mike. Truth teller. Women are resorting to the oldest profession in history, selling themselves online and other places. Oh, man, you just got a little too real, buddy. Easy jobs shut down. That's another thing. That is very true. I used to talk to my homeboy back in the day. I used to say, not even back in the day, I used to say, man, real talk. If the government just shuts down a lot of these jobs and do a lot of furloughs and lay off a lot of these women, you're going to see an increase in, what? There's going to be a lot of tricking going on because that's their first go-to. And a lot of women, let's just keep it real. A lot of states are cultivated prostitutes in a nutshell because these days, man, you might not be on your second date and they already going for them pockets real quick, especially down here in Atlanta. You're right, Truteller. Female judges, doctors, lawyers are all on social media showing their case. That's very true. That's very true. So, brothers, I appreciate you, coming on the show. If anybody wants to come on, I'm gonna keep it open. I'm gonna go ahead and put a link in the chat if anybody wants to come on real quick. Let's see here. Got about 30 more minutes. We can chop it up. So I just dropped a link, fellas. If you want to come on and chop it up and give me what your reason is for you not being married, or why brothers shouldn't get married, or why you're thinking about getting divorced, come on to the show and let's talk about it. Let's see here. Let's see what this article is talking about. This article is posted on blackmentravels.com, by the way. You guys check out the website. We got a lot of articles on there. We also have a social network on there. Now, the social network, we are improving. We are going to be updating very soon. Now, the article states the U.S. marriage rate fell 6% in 2018, with 6.5 new unions formed for every 1,000 people. Wow. The lowest rate since the federal government began keeping data. Look at that chart, fellas. It's just going down, 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 and more down. Wow. Yep, millennials are in peak marriage years, their 20s and 30s, and it's still dropping. Roger Young says, my WhatsApp is blowing up. Truth tell, I don't have a super chat currently, brother, but we'll get it soon. We'll get it popping soon, but I appreciate that. Marquez J says, I think a lot of them don't realize that all of them lace fronts and cakes makeup gives off transgender vibes. We were discussing that yesterday. Uh, Me and a friend of mine, man, we chop up about stocks all the time, and he's up there in DC. And he said, man, you know what, man, I really miss the women of yesteryear. I miss the women that looked like Aaliyah and Nia Long back in the 90s and stuff like that, those 90s females. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, bro. We caught the tail end of that, but now it's just like women be dressed up looking like trannies, like RuPaul. I mean, the crazy color wigs, the lace fronts, all the makeup. I mean, ooh, like these women looking like clowns nowadays, man. Oh yeah, definitely. MJ Hines asked, "Do you think marriage to women overseas will rise?" 100%. That's what's going on now. I told my mom, I said, "Mom, I doubt if I marry an American woman, to be honest with you." And she didn't have an issue with it. She understood it. Because women that love their sons and your aunties and the older women, the women of yesteryear, they'll let you know that, hey man, listen, these women ain't really hitting on this. They ain't gonna come out publicly and say it because women group think and they feel like if you say something negative, it's about all of them, which it's not. But they let you know, like, listen, don't deal with these women out here these days. It's unless she's a good one. If you find a good one, do right by her. But for the most part, if your options for a marriage is better than starting a family overseas, go for it. Just go for it. So Stoic says, them 90s chicks were whores too, but not as much makeup. Very true. Right now we got a whole bunch of freak neat pictures, going around like Facebook and stuff like that, Instagram. You got a whole bunch of freak neat pictures, and you be like, damn. I think one chick said, "Hey, that's my mom. Can you take that picture down?" She was bending over, spread eagle over a police car. And the police officers, he's standing right beside her, smiling and everything. So that's definitely true, man. It's definitely true. But you know what? I'm gonna say this about the women of the '90s. You had a much better chance of having a relationship with a woman from that decade than you do now. Way more of a chance because back then, in the '90s and even early 2000s, it wasn't such a big independent movement going on, and a lot of women didn't have these big corporate jobs yet. I mean, you had a lot of women in college, so it was going to get there. But for the most part, at least in Atlanta, a lot of women had like menial jobs, and the guy had these blue collar jobs. Guys were truck drivers, electricians, so the guys would make more money than a lot of these females. So you still had a little bit more of, I mean, you had eights, nines, and tens, man, being married. Some of the marriages didn't work out, but in Atlanta, at least, if you had a job, your own place, in the car, you would smash women that look like Lisa Ray on the regular. Trust me. And some of those women, at that point in the '90s, you still had some women coming from two-parent households. Not many. It might have been more like 60-40 back then versus now. It's like crazy percentage. Larry 45 says, at 21 years old, I already focus on getting my career. I never get married here in the States. That's a death trap. I'd rather do it overseas or pull a James Bond. I feel you, Larry. I feel you, brother. And you're doing the right thing by focusing on your career, man. Truth Teller says, just look up Sydney Starr, the trans woman. Females are becoming easier to imitate. She was in music videos in the early 2000s, lied on Chingy the rapper, and killed that man's career. Yeah, I remember that. That Chingy interview I saw on, I believe it was TV1, and that was kind of messed up, and the media really did Chingy wrong because she came out and said that it was all a lie, and they didn't cover that part. they already had damaged that man's, career in the rap game by saying he was messing with trannies. And then when she came out and said that it was all a lie, she just wanted some publicity, she just wanted some attention, they didn't cover the story. So yeah, that was very messed up. Mike Sheep says, next woman I marry will be from the continent, I'm sure he's saying Africa, Eritrean or Ethiopian. Yeah, man. It's funny, man, because those are like the ride or dies right there. The Ethiopian women, the Eritrean women. Um, Usually they stick to their own, but if you go over there, you can definitely grab one because they in surplus like a lot of other countries. Yeah, in the early 90s, the females were much less of a thought. Minister Jap had a little series about women of the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, man, and it was real good, man. And he said a lot of truths in those little series about women in the 90s. Yeah, because I mean, you still had them out here. I mean, you go to the club, you pull a woman, go home. And the 90s, I was still in school, so I wasn't really in the dating game at that point. But the early 2000s, you dating women, once you get out there, you're dating women in their 30s and 40s and all that good stuff, or, late 20s. And you definitely could tell that right now, generation back then is much different than the girls out here nowadays. I mean, back in the day, fellas, I remember when a woman came to your spot, man, she would clean up your whole house, she would cook. Matter of fact, your mama would tell you, man, if a woman come to your home and leave it the same way she left, she was no good. A woman comes to your home and she don't go to that kitchen and start, fixing you up a meal. They don't take her serious. Nowadays that's just commonplace. You can have a girlfriend and be dating for months, and all y'all do is just go out to eat. Or now you got Uber Eats, stuff like that. So these women out here are just plain out lazy, to be honest with you. They're very lazy. And they're very insecure. Like these new women out here, man, they are so insecure, bro. I just don't understand it. A lot of them don't like the way they look, so they try to project onto men on why they're dating out. When the reality is they're dating out because they don't want to deal with your attitude, ladies. That's the truth. It don't have really nothing to do with how you look because, truthfully speaking, your natural look is just as beautiful as any other woman on the planet. Besides Brazil, but you're still very beautiful. My brother Truth Teller says here in the year 2020, females only about that dollar bill. This is very true. And I'm going to say this. I've seen a lot of comments on Facebook, a lot of comments in the YouTube videos about women saying that the women overseas only want brothers for money. But this is my thing. So do you. So do you. And you women did not establish yourselves from being different than other races or other cultures of women, right? So what's happened now is a lot of women have aged out the game, whether they like to admit to it or not. And brothers saying, hey, if it's all about the money, I'm going to get my best option possible. I'm going to go over here to Brazil with my money flipped. If we're going to play that game, they decided to play that game. They decided to be cold-hearted and just go for the bag. And then raise their daughters to just go for the bag. And look how many of them are getting burnt right now. There is no bag. There is no bag. So if you want to play that game, keep in mind that you can play that game if you want, ladies. But understand, it's a woman turning 18 every day. And the game is only from 18 to really 29 these days. And now it's going to be younger than that. Really 18 to 25, because a lot of these young boys, they know the game. They in the manosphere. They understand, when brothers like Black Ram speak and BGS, they understand female nature. Something that a lot of brothers didn't understand before the Black manosphere. So these young dudes coming up, Generation Z's, man, they really ain't playing no games. Like my brother said, he's 21 years old. He already know he going overseas to get him one. What does that tell you? You got people like Ricky Smiley's son who said, man, I ain't even dating y'all sisters. I'm not even doing it. And this is what's happening now. Mike Sheep says, I really don't know if any women this is decent enough to marry. All tackheads and thoughts with nasty attitudes. MJ Hines 3 says, you get a better deal overseas. Let's see here. Women think they are a Ferrari when they actually a Camry with 400,000 miles. Yeah, man. I got to kind of clean up some of the comments, man, because they'll flag your video and all that bullshit. So I clean up a little bit, but people can read it and they definitely know what you're saying. Damn, True Teller says Brazil real is now 542 to USD1. Wow. Mike Sheep says, my buddy is in the Gambia, West Africa, and all the women are loyal and treat brothers like a king. And that's another thing. It's almost like with the sisters in the States, even though brothers are dating black women from different countries, that doesn't matter. They still want you to be with them. They still feel like you're dating out, really, which is very interesting because we thought it was all about ethnicity, but apparently it's not. Let's see here. I missed a few comments. SO's Toic says, I guess this is a response to the 90s females being thoughts. He says, because there was no social media, there was less whoring, or it was better hidden. That's very true. Very true. It's not a good look. Dudes out there lying to women, telling them they're thick when they're fat, out of shape, and in denial about the need to maintain their health. Fitness and travel life. This travel movement is bigger than most people think. Trust me. Brother, it's funny because I remember when I registered the domain name at GoDaddy.com, right? Or I'm sorry, BlackmenTravels.com at GoDaddy. And I was talking to a sister. This is very funny. I was talking to a sister, and she was like, BlackmenTravels.com. They do? And I'm like, yeah, brothers, we travel. This is back in like 2000, and this is actually back in 2015. So it's not that long ago. And I'm like, yeah, brothers got their passport. She's like, I don't know no black man that got a passport. And I'm like, this is very unprofessional, but okay. It's So yeah, man, black men are getting their stuff together, brothers. Getting their stuff together. They're getting their passport, they're getting their resources together. And they are not tricking off with these women in the States any longer. Let's just keep it real. That's what you're doing when you're dating in the States. You're just basically tricking. But nothing. You get nothing out of it. Take a woman out, you spend time, you spend about 2-3 hours with her, you could have been doing something else. You spend about $200 or $150 in a day. She gives you a half a hug, she gives you the old school teacher hug, and then you just out, and she's on to the next guy. And more likely that guy ain't even half the man you are. That's the thing that kind of get the buzz a little bit. When you actually saw the type of men or boys that these women are sleeping with in their most valuable years, you would just shake your head. You just be like, wow, this is what you're doing with yourself. This is who you're giving your body to. And they do that, they get pregnant by these guys who are no good. And then they expect you to come up and be the cleanup man. And they're mad because for years they had a bunch of brothers out here that were very naive to the dating game, the socialness of America, basically. And now that those brothers have the game because of the black manosphere, right? Because of different dudes like Black Ram and Alpha Male Strategies that are getting this game now, the pool of simps is very limited, and it's getting smaller and smaller by the day. And you got these guys now that's not even dealing with you guys, dealing with these females. And they're saying, you know what, man, I'm just going to go overseas. I'm just going to weigh my options out overseas where I'm more valuable. Men are going to go where they are most valuable and they are respected. That's very true. That's a toy. That's very true. They feel like they own black men. We're like a toy to be put down to play with something else. I was thinking about that. I remember I was thinking about a past relationship as a toy, about how, pretty little red bone, no kids. This is like back in the day. And it was almost like everything was at her convenience. She want to see you when she want to see you. She want to sleep with you when she want to sleep with you. If she got something going on, she ain't dealing with you for that moment, She's doing her little things. She being her little own little independent little thought. She's just moving and shaking the way she wants. And a lot of times that's not in the best interest of them long term. And you feel like, damn, as a man that's supposed to be in a relationship, you're like, yo, you know, where you at? What's going on? And they just want to deal with you at their own convenience, basically. Like you say, they want to take you off the shelf, and they want to take you off the shelf, play with you for a while, get their little rocks off, show you around, you know, to feel like they're normal. Like, yeah, I got a boyfriend. Then they put you back and you don't see him for 2 more weeks. They on to the next dude. And what it really is a lot of you chicks, you know, back then at least 10, 15 years ago, you know, what a lot of chicks were doing was they were still sleeping with the Pookies and Ray Rays, but they would still bring out the good guy around their family. You know, they'll bring, you know, me around, meet their mom, their dad, and then, you know, that would be it for a while. But they sleeping with Pookie and Ray Ray on the low. You feel me? Oh, MJ Hines, that's such the truth, bro. I'm telling you, I had to stop telling women that shit because I just saw how it changed. He says that tell females you travel to Colombia and Brazil and watch how her face scrunch up. Man, I got an even better one. I remember when Brazil was requiring you to have a visa, right? So I went to get my visa expedited, you know, get it quicker. And I went to this little place downtown where do all your paperwork for you. And it's a sister in there, and she's like, "Oh, you and your wife going to Brazil? That's cool." And I'm like, "Bitch, I ain't know. I'm going by myself. You going by yourself? Interesting. What's going on in Brazil?" And once again, you ever notice how when these sisters be in these jobs, they'll be professional with everybody else, but here you come, and it just be all out there and open, like all asking inappropriate questions. And I'm sitting here like, yo, are you supposed to be asking me this? You know, like I'm just trying to get my little visa from you, baby girl. I ain't trying to, parlay with you like that. Kind of a big bitch. So I'm like, But she's like, wow, so what's going on in Brazil? I know what's going on in Brazil. The women out there are beautiful. Yeah, they are. And that's where I'm going. Shit. Yeah, new batch of females do turn 18, 21 every day. That's very true. Very true. True Teller says being a good guy in the Matrix will definitely get you screwed. It's not even a question. So, fellas, I just came here to chop it up today, man. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, man. We're going to do another one of these probably tomorrow. And we are out. Peace.